Hello and welcome to another edition of Ask Ron. This time you didn't ask me, but I came up with some topics anyway. We're deep into contest season now. I've been going to a couple local shows, and if you're on social media like I am, Facebook and Instagram, you know that every weekend there's shows all over the place. So we're getting tons of pictures of people getting ready for shows, people who just competed in shows, stage pictures. The first thing I have to talk about is, I've talked about it before, but every Sunday and Monday after every contest, some guy or girl will post pictures of how they looked at the show. People say, "How'd you do?" And unless they won, which obviously not everybody can win, some of these shows, even the local regional shows, will have 100, 200, 300 people. So there's a lot of people that didn't win, right? And they all have supporters. They all have people that follow them on social media. They all have friends, family. And a lot of these people get very upset and say, "I can't believe you didn't win. What those judges are blind. It was fixed. It was politics. I don't know what were they looking at?" And, I've said this before, but the people making the comments, you don't know what you're looking at. You're the ones who don't know what you're looking at because you don't understand how shows are judged. Now, I'm not going to say that there are not ever any bad judging calls. Of course there are. Politics, sometimes is there some favoritism? Maybe someone's got their coach up there on the judging panel or the gym owner or something. I'm sure things like this happen and there's favoritism. I'm not going to be so blind as to say it never happens. But I do think judging is very tough. And I think the judges do get it right most of the time. And they're judging by a series of attributes or factors that they're looking at that the people making these comments on Facebook and Instagram about how their buddy or the person they follow was robbed, they're unaware of, they're just ignorant of. I'm just going to give an example without using the name of the person. Guy that competed last weekend, didn't win. Outraged comments from so many of the people that follow them, mostly young guys. This guy, like a lot of people that compete and who don't win, doesn't have the best shape, structure. His legs are pretty weak compared to his upper body. I could see just from the pictures he posted, a lot of his posing is just whacked. He doesn't know how to pose. These things all count. But somebody like his buddies or the people that follow him, they'll look at something like his arms are big or he's got a lot of veins, and to them that means he should win. And a lot of times they're not even pictures being posted comparing themselves to other people. It's just this person by themselves. If you're a halfway decent bodybuilder by yourself in a picture, in shape, you look like a winner. You should look like a winner. The higher up the food chain you get, when you get to the top 5 at the Arnold Classic and the Olympia, let's say top 10 at the Olympia, every single one of those guys by himself looks awesome. You can't imagine looking at those pictures of them, especially if they're in the gym in some nice favorable lighting. You can't imagine that they're not going to win, right? But they obviously, only one of them wins. It's Phil Heath every year. The thing is you're not up there by yourself. You're up there being compared to other people. It's a competition. And how do the judges determine who's going to have first place, second place, third place, fourth place? It's a whole slew of factors that they have to look at. They're looking at the best total package. So it's not necessarily going to be the biggest guy. I'm using just guys in bodybuilding as an example, okay? It's not going to be necessarily the most ripped guy. It's not going to necessarily be the guy with the best shape, condition, presentation. It's going to be the person with the best combination of all those things. So say some guy's huge, he's massive, but he's not in shape. He's barely got abs. Some people will look at those pictures and they don't know any better, and they'll say, "He should have won. Look how huge he is." You don't know what you're looking at. You don't know what you're talking about. And it's an insult to the other competitors. It's an insult to the judges when you have to sit there on social media and look at all these uninformed comments accusing the judges of malfeasance, of politics and favoritism. Again, which I said, I'm sure that does happen sometimes, but most of the time, no. And let me just say for a second, judging is a hard job. I've never judged a big show, would not want to judge a big show. It's a thankless job. They're stuck there at those tables looking at class after class after class after class. And now you got crossovers. Sometimes at this color show last week, like a buddy of mine, Jay, I think he did 5 or 6 classes. So somebody could theoretically do novice bodybuilding, open bodybuilding, over 35 bodybuilding, over 40 bodybuilding. And they could do a bunch of classic classes too, classic physique, just changed into the shorts. So now you, as a judge, you just saw this guy, you're looking at some of the same people 4, 5, 6 times in the same day within the span of a couple hours. It's got to be exhausting. You know, the judging sometimes goes on for, they rotate the judges and everything, or they try to, you know, sometimes not everybody shows up. But we're talking about minimum 3 hours of judging, minimum. And at a bigger show, bigger regional show, you're looking at 4, 5, 6 hours of judging. These national shows, they definitely have to rotate the judges. These national shows are brutal, brutal. The judging will start at 9 in the morning. It'll go till 9 or 10 at night. 2 days in a row like that, because they have to look at anywhere from 1,000 to 1,500 competitors in bodybuilding, fitness, figure, men's physique, women's physique, classic physique. Soon wellness is going to be added to that. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And, you know, I feel bad for the judges because then after the shows, they have to, you know, I'm sure a lot of them don't read all the comments and everything, but I'm sure they're well aware that a lot of the friends and supporters and followers of the many, many competitors who did not win have to, they sit there and say the judges suck and they don't know what they're doing, or it's all politics. You know, unless you understand how contests are judged, what all the attributes the judges are looking for are, you really shouldn't make comments like you were robbed or judging sucks, or, you know, because you're just talking out of your ass. It's really annoying to me, and I shouldn't even comment, but sometimes I jump in there and I'll make a comment like, you know, we're looking at, sometimes you'll see if they show a comparison picture, maybe it's like one picture from a weird angle or something. It's not enough to go by. You either have to be there or you have to have a set of photos where you can see all the people that they were up against. So let's just say the top 5. Say this guy got 5th place. You want to see 1st through 5th place in quarter turns and in at least 3 or 4 mandatory poses to get a pretty accurate idea of whether or not the judging was suspect or whether it was pretty accurate. Sorry, I'm sweaty. Most of the time, the judges get it right, like I said. And it's unfortunate that everybody can't win. It's not, these contests aren't about who works the hardest necessarily. Unfortunately, that's not the case. It's not about, you know, who deserves to win because they worked harder or they've been doing it longer. You know, if that was the case, I'd be Mr. Olympia by now. Genetics matter a whole lot, obviously. Somebody with really nice shape and puts on mass easily, sometimes they can beat a lot of people who are in better condition, and they deserve to. You know, just, I could get into the most disgusting shredded condition. I'm confident of this. But I'd still have terrible shape compared to better bodybuilders. I still wouldn't have the mass of better bodybuilders. And even though I have great presentation, I'm a really good poser. I know how to show off my strong points and hide my weak points. That doesn't mean I shouldn't win just because I can come in this crazy condition and present myself. If somebody's a lot bigger than me and they have better shape than me, even if they're not in the same level of condition, I understand that, you know, they're gonna beat me. This happened to me the last time I competed, 2013 Masters Nationals. There were 31 men in the over 40 heavyweight division. I ended up 14th out of 31. So all 13 men who beat me were not in better condition than me. Some of them were definitely in much worse condition than me. You know, could I have placed a little higher? Maybe a couple spots, but not much. You know, I deserve what I got. And most of these people posting, they deserved what they got what they deserved. And it's sad that everybody can't win. This is a competition. I think America has gotten, I don't know how the rest of the world is necessarily, but the USA has gotten to the point where, you know, we feel like everybody should win. Everybody should get a trophy. Everybody, you know, these kids play soccer now and they don't even keep score and everybody gets a trophy and everybody's a winner. It's not real life. The real world is competitive. Not everybody gets the best jobs, and not everybody gets the top contracts and things like that. It's a rough world out there. It's dog eat dog. It's competitive, and unfortunately, that's something a lot of people are going to be in for a rude awakening for as adults. I kind of fear for this young generation. But anyway, so when you read these comments, always understand that most of the people commenting don't know what they're talking about, and I'm not blaming them. It's not their fault. They don't know. They just don't know. A lot of them have never even been to a contest. You know, they're going off pictures on the internet, and they get easily impressed by a couple big body parts, some veins. You know, they're easily impressed. Let's put it that way. So if they follow Joey Muscles, because Joey's got 23-inch arms, well, maybe Joey's got 22-inch thighs. You know what? That's a pretty shitty physique, unfortunately, on stage for bodybuilding. But they don't realize that. They overlook, they gloss over all the weak points, or ignore them, or they're just unaware of their favorite people, and they focus on the strong points, and they think that's why this guy should have won. Look at those arms, look at those veins, look at you know, the things that impress people are all different. But safe to say that a lot of these comments, they're just coming from a place of ignorance, and I don't blame them for that. And I understand they want to support their friends, their family, or some guy or girl who they've been following. But yeah, it's not accurate. Next thing I want to talk about is a lot of people are prepping for shows now, and it's commonplace for them to complain and whine about how tired they are, how hungry, how they're craving this and that, and they'll post pictures of burgers and fries and pizza and ice cream and cookies and all the things they can't have, or they'll post videos where they're doing their cardio at 5 in the morning and they're exhausted and you know, they're huffing and puffing and sweating and, you know, feeling sorry for themselves. And just say, contest prep is a privilege. It's not something for you to be complaining about. There's a lot of people out there. For everybody that's competing, there's a few other people who wish they could compete, but they legitimately don't have the time. They might be working a job or two, taking care of children, family members, caretaking for elderly mom, dad, grandparents. They legitimately, there's no way they could compete. They don't have the time to eat 6 meals a day and to do cardio, fasted cardio, and do weights and more cardio. They just don't have the time. You do. You're competing. You have the time. You're fortunate. A lot of people don't have the money. Let's talk about the money. It costs money to join any organization. It costs money to enter any contest. Once you get to the national shows, now we're talking $200-300 or more per class to enter. And a lot of people do crossovers. They'll do a few different classes. So, and then you're traveling, you know, airplane, air travel, hotel, meals. You probably, a lot of times you're paying a prep coach. Could be anywhere from, you know, $600 to a few $1,000s that you're paying somebody to coach you through this process. You might be paying a posing coach. A well-known posing coach in the New England area charges $100 an hour, so I've heard. That's not cheap. You know, you might be paying a personal trainer to train you. If you're a woman doing like figure, bikini, those suits are not cheap. They can be up to $1,000 more. You have to pay someone to do your hair and makeup. You have to pay for your spray tan. And I'm going to say it, especially when we get into the divisions like classic physique and much more so open bodybuilding. There are drugs involved. Drugs are very expensive. Basic steroids, not that expensive. You get into insulin, not that expensive. You get into legitimate growth hormone, a lot of money. This IGF-1, a lot of money. You know, all the stuff, all the drugs that are being used in the year 2018, it all adds up. It's a lot of money. So if you have the funds to be able to afford all these things, you're blessed. You're fortunate. A lot of people out there would love to be in your position to have the time and the money to compete, but they can't. You can. So shut up, stop whining, stop bitching, stop moaning. You're actually in a very fortunate position that you're able to do this. So you should be grateful. Another thing, injuries. A lot of people, they're not healthy enough to compete. They might have illnesses. They might have serious injuries, arthritis, all kinds of aches, pains, things that limit their training. They can't train like they used to or like they want to. They'd love to be able to train for a show, but it's not in the cards. You know, I always use myself as an example because I'm like that. My shoulder's so jacked up. I want to compete, even if the money was no issue, if the time was no issue. I can't really train the way I want to and the way I would need to, at the level I'm competing at. I'm at the Masters pro qualifier level. I'd be doing like Team U Masters, Masters Nationals, North American. The guys I would be up against, they're no joke. These guys, a lot of them have been at it for many, many years. They're very, very good. Many of them have come close to turning pro many times. They've won many, many contests over the years. They're really good. I couldn't go up against these guys half-assed and expect to have any kind of chance. And there's a lot of other people out there, and it's not just me. A lot of you guys out there are dealing with injuries, constant aches and pains, things that limit your training. And it sucks. But so I just want to say that if you have everything aligned and you're able to be contest prepping right now, you have the time to do it, you have the money to do it, your body's healthy, everything's fallen into place. Yeah, you're going to be hungry. You're going to crave these foods you can't eat for 12 to 16 weeks on a diet. It sucks getting up early to do cardio. Oh, well, you know what? Nobody's forcing you to do the show. It's not a punishment. It's something you chose to do. It's actually something you should feel privileged to do. So please stop complaining about it. That's all. I didn't really have any questions. I just want to comment on this because, like I said, it's contest season, and we're getting a lot of posts of these types right now on Facebook and Instagram. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the MD YouTube channel, and I'll talk to you next time.